Hi, my name is Mark Biernot. I'm a monetary economist. In this video, I want to talk about Adam Smith as it relates to the Russian and U.S. economic policy going forward. And in this video, I'm going to give you specific examples and primary source documentation of why Adam Smith was correct and the U.S. economic policy, which is similar to the Russian economic policy going forward, will bring a Russian economic collapse and perhaps a global downturn that will precipitate this Russian collapse. I'm going to start with a quote by Adam Smith, Wealth of Nations, 1776. Nothing is more absurd than this whole notion of balance of trade, which the restraints and all commerce regulation rest upon. This is a primary source document. This is what Adam Smith said. Nothing is more absurd than this notion of balance of trade. The whole doctrine of American economics, it looks like going forward with the new president and the Tsar of Russia, is based on you need a trade surplus. You must export more than you import. You must protect domestic industries to give workers higher wages and bring it back to this old-time belief in economics. Now, when I was a stockbroker, way back, I had something called broker logic. You'd weave an argument that would be it would be a pretty good argument, and people would start nodding their head, yeah, I agree. For example, don't buy Coca-Cola. Buy Coca-Cola Bottling Company because there's a greater margin and the sales are fully dependent on Coca-Cola. It was some argument like that. I'm not recommending that, obviously. It's an example. That may or may not be true because there's many factors. And simply saying we're going to have an export-driven economy contradicts Adam Smith's statement. So if you disagree, you have to knock down Adam Smith, the father of capitalism, 1776 in the Enlightenment. You have to rebut his arguments. His arguments were against mercantilism and the empires that tried to accumulate gold. Russia has a lot of gold, but gold and money do not put or grow potatoes in the field. Gold and money do not construct buildings. As absurd as it seems, they do not. You can have all the gold bars in the world, but it doesn't create a building. So Adam Smith is correct. Let's give an example specifically. What about the Amish? The Amish are a community in America that are fairly self-sufficient, but each household is dependent on the next. If there was no specialization, and that's what free trade really is, it's a comparative advantage, it's a macroeconomic country specialization, then there would be no efficiency. And so the way the Amish are, some people consider the most successful business community in America, by definition of the lowest rate of business failures, and I can quote a source, they survive because they trade with each other every single day. They can't not trade. They are not living on self-sufficient homesteads on 100%. So even without electricity and technology, they get rich through trade and specialization. Now, I'll give you another example. Recently, I'm in Poland, obviously. This doesn't look like Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Maybe St. Augustine, where I live. But I had to sign some, minor documents. And I was supposed to go to the U.S. Embassy, set an appointment for I don't know how many months in the future, and do it the old-fashioned way with a notary and a stamp. So I got approval that I could do it online. Downloaded an app to my phone. 4 a.m, Texas time, some guy pops up. He's a notary. And then 2 witnesses pop up. They're official witnesses. We do everything, sign it online, and, click, click, click. The whole thing's recorded. It's all done through the internet, the web, on phones that were constructed with a zillion different, suppliers and manufacturer of parts all over the world. Everything from, the rubber that holds it to secure it to the glass all these components, it's so intricate, this economy. If you don't trade, if you have restrictions to trade, if you have barriers to trade, it's like I said, it's like Vermont trying to grow oranges and Florida trying to grow apples. It could do it, but it leads to the least efficient result. And you push the PPC, the possibility frontier curve, downward, which means much higher prices for everybody. I don't care if you make the argument the wages are going to, go up. A much less quantity, shortages, and this is how the world is going to go with the new administration's idea of tariffs. It doesn't seem like that. Also, lack of free trade starts to bend geopolitical motives. And if we're talking about China specifically, looks like they still have eyes on Taiwan. And if you're talking about Ukraine, Europe, Russia's target is Europe to disrupt the political, free, democratic processes here. They will put economic weight behind it. This all, and my argument is Adam Smith's argument, it is not my argument, will come to a head when barriers go up, trade goes down, the PPC, the PPF shifts to the left, downward, prices start to go up. It's a tax on the common person. The people with money are not going to feel it. The owners of capital are not going to feel it. They are, but not in the same way as the average person. Even if the whole economy retooled and regeared back into the 1940s or 30s, like we're kind of suggesting it's supposed to be a post-industrial or industrial age of, iron and steel manufacturing, even if this did happen, and again, it's not the same economy, I can't see it being successful. It will take 10 years, 15 years to retool and become that way before real wages, I know we're talking real wages, not nominal wages, start to go up. There is no way that you go against Adam Smith. If you ever played the game Civilization, you make these great discoveries. When you discover Adam Smith, your whole economy gets a boost. When I lived in Connecticut, I lived in Avon, Connecticut, but very close to that was Granby, Connecticut, where they mined copper. They had a prison there, Revolutionary War prison, and then they mined copper. But British law under mercantilism said they had to ship that copper back to England, smelt it in England, and then bring it back to the colonies. How ridiculous is that? That's the type of logic that Putin, the Tsar of Russia follows, and that the next president of the United States will follow. Better is just mine it in Connecticut, smelt it in Connecticut, and then ship it. Everything's more efficient. So anybody that tries to make an argument that the next president or who's following basically the Tsar of Russia's model of economics, it's mercantilism, age of empires, is superior to Adam Smith in any way, shape, or form. Ask him. I don't care if you're talking crypto, the new BRICS or digital currency or gold. Does gold ever fertilize soil? Does gold ever build a building? Does gold make a computer? You can make an argument for industrial components of that, or dollars, or a ruble. So this is the argument that specialization brings efficiency. The greatest way countries can involved in specialization is free trade and free commerce. And Adam Smith, although again, it's counterintuitive, because if I'm a household and all I do is consume and I don't ship goods out, you think, I'm going to become poor. That is not what economics is about, because every transaction, no matter what the price and the accounting of it, and I was in investment accounting, no matter what the nominal accounting of it is, every arm's length transaction, and this is key, is a zero-sum game to each person. You have to meditate on that. You have to understand it's a zero-sum game to each person. So forget about the nominal dollar figures that you're trading in that leads to a trade balance or surplus. Think about that idea that both benefits both parties. And this raises, in an unexplained way, to a greater economic efficiency. So I'm going to read this quote again. I'm going to read it right from the book. Nothing, however, can be more absurd than this whole doctrine of balance of trade, upon which not only these restraints, but almost all other regulation of commerce are founded. Adam Smith, Wealth of Nations, 1776, Book 4, Chapter 3. I'm waiting for this Russian collapse, and it's going to happen. And this whole world economic downturn, and it's going to happen because they are going against Adam Smith. My name is Mark Bernot. I'm a monetary economist. Have a great day. Thank you very much.